Good afternoon on what is a bright, warm but changeable day. It is Friday, the August the 19th, and I've got a pile of parcels to unbox and a nice hot cup of tea. And this one has come all the way from Portugal, so it is from Games Omnivorous. Okay, so let's open. First thing we're going to pull out is that, which is Frontier Scum, a game about wanted outlaws making their mark on a lost frontier by Karl Druid. Acid Western role-playing. So, weirdly has no spine, so it gives it an odd feel. Frontier Scum is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game. Just as games may draw inspiration from sword and bow times, this game also draws inspiration from gun and hat times. It's not a vehicle which propagate the racist, sexist, homophobic, and otherwise bigoted stereotypes or tropes of the Old West or any other era. So, that's the warning and table of contents. So it's almost like it's a boarded book rather than sort of like a spine book. It's got this rough quality to it, and the layout. Also, I like this. It's got this kind of style of a newspaper, a frontier newspaper, a small town newspaper. It's not as cluttered, of course, but it's got that kind of feel. So it's really kind of presenting the pages of the background through the description of the background through the pages of the Daily Errant. So lots of adverts, lots of sort of kind of detail which adds to the feel of the period. And then we actually have a map of the Lost Frontier, the Big Nothing. Fairly open. You've got Covert City, Fort Gullet, and so on, Paris, and just like a fairly generic Old West kind of setting. Oddly by the coast or by the sea, and then we actually get into playing Frontier Scum. Now obviously, most Wild West games you are sort of like you're generally playing the white hats, the good guys, and what you hear playing, you essentially you might be, let's have a look, Hable, Old Rat, Haggard, and you get your stats for grit, slick, wits, and luck there. And then who is your outlaw scum with a cold conscience and a lumbago, and then who is wanted dead or alive, or dead alive, for the crime of unoriginal extortion, for example. So you're just rolling sort of like the details of your character up like that, and then you're getting into sort of, you've got a background as well. So in here we have a carcass trapper, Phosphorus prospector, ghoulish undertaker, gambler and a cheat, charlatan and a fraud, to give flavour, and some example skills and bonus items and so on. And then you saddle up with your gear, with what essentially what you can carry, and then get your gun, and then don't forget your hat, okay? Because otherwise there's a big target on your head. And again, it's following through on this kind of magazine stroke newspaper style of layout, which I really like, even with it fitting the rules around them. It gives it such a sense of sort of like verisimilitude. So even at a case of you're talking about things like conditions and damage and so on, that section is under Dr. Panash's column. So for dealing with the barber, surgeon, or the dentist and so on, that's got a nice flavour. And then you're out dealing with travel with scum on the trail, scum in the streets, and so on. Just sort of like, these are general NPCs again, and you've got various types of small, medium, and big game there. And then rules are sort of like going on a bender in your local saloon, as you will. Essentially, the outcome, what was lost, what was won, who you owe. So there's, you're building up background and so on. And then you start off essentially escape the organ rail, a penal train clad in black iron. Because you sort of like, there are a number of these small kind of different Wild West games, and there are one or two out there that posit the idea that the train you're on is going to hell, literally. Whether there's a Dungeon Crawl Classics kind of version. There are a couple of small sort of like OSR style games which really kind of have come out with the various Zine quests over the years. And then we've got a complete description of the train, so prison car, barracks car, cage car, and so on, lab car, another prison car, and so on, complete with sort of like little descriptions, little maps of or cross sections of each wagon at the bottom of the page. That's a nice addition. Even got a suit car and the gun car. And there's a sense of sort of like there's a little bit of a shootout across all the various areas aboard the lengthy wagon there, all the way down to the engine and the false engine, and what you do after. How to spend 10,000 silver, and more scope with odd jobs and opportunities and bounties. And then house loot, pocket loot. So you can actually scavenge houses and steal from pockets, delve into tombs, strange relics. So you basically sort of extend into sort of the horror of the Old West as well. And you've got a reference sheet at the end. And that's everything to Frontier Scum, a game about wanted outlaws making their mark on a lost frontier from Games Omnivorous. Essentially another entry kind of for the old school Renaissance, playing the Wild West. And this one, I think, takes its kind of tone and feel from sort of like Into the Odd, or a little bit of Mouse Ritter there. It's sort of like, it's quite a tough, gritty setting, and certainly you are not playing necessarily nice people. Some of you might be innocent, but mostly you're not. So yeah, Frontier Scum from Games Omnivorous. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below, and if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with a parcel from which I will extract a game or book and chat about it to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do hit that subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook, and I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.